8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Should be ready.
I think we're live.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm John of the Light, talking with Gary Peter Carlson, who you know is the world's expert on souls and spiritual research. Gary spent the last 15 years researching soul truths and spiritual truth. And I've done some of that. I've probably spent the last 15 years myself, maybe 20, doing various kinds of research. And Gary and I have been started doing a couple of videos, like in a series. And in this particular series, this would be video number 3.
Yes.
Gary, how are you doing? Are you feeling all right?
Yes, I'm ready to do good.
Good.
Let's put in some good details today. I want to remind everybody that most of my research comes through dowsing. I find out a lot of my spiritual information from dowsing. I read stuff. I read all kinds of stuff, and then I ask on dowsing if it's right or wrong.
Sure.
I expand upon it and find out more about that particular topic through dowsing.
Well, so where we left off basically from our last video, and people who know you know this, but for those who don't, know that we've been trying to help others understand sacred truths, mostly spiritual truth that you'll never hear about in the mainstream media. You'll never learn about this in higher education.
Or from other people.
Or from other people like your parents or your friends or your neighbors. And what Gary and I are trying to talk about in this series that we're starting is the most important information we can talk about that very few people talk about or understand. So, you know, we're not talking, and we will maybe in the future, we're not talking about the news as much. We're not talking about all of the stuff that Trump is accomplishing in his first 3 weeks, you know. There's so much going on in the world right now, and we will get there at some point. I'm sure we can start talking about the news of the day, but what we really want to cover first is the most important, most sacred information we can share. As Gary has stated over and over again, time and again, that we just want to help. We want to help pass on truth that you won't hear anywhere else. Any other thoughts on that?
Yes, the main truth we're trying to get across is that the bad, evil people that are controlling humanity have human bodies just like us, but they don't have human souls. They have reptilian souls that don't have empathy for others like our souls do.
And we'll get there. We're going to get there in a minute. And people know you. That's like the one thing that people know you about, is that you've been trying to wake people up to the reality that we're not alone. We're also not even alone on our own planet, right? We've been infiltrated by other races of ET. And these races found a stealth way to infiltrate our own race. And we're going to get there. Let's make sure we're on the same page with all of any new viewers that view this video. You and I have been trying to paint a picture of present reality on this planet. truths that have been completely hidden from humanity because the controllers of this planet, who we will talk about, don't want people to know these truths. Any are spiritual truths, truths about the soul, about spirituality, about reincarnation, about who and what we really are, which is right to your research. And about the purpose of incarnation, about why we're here now. Other truths that we are going to talk about are truths about extraterrestrials and other ET races, how we are not alone, obviously, not just in the universe, not just in our galaxy, but even in our solar system, even on and around our planet.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, people who think that, mainstream science, the truth, have been deceived from birth, right? I mean, science postulates that we are alone in the universe. I mean, that's got to be one of the biggest lies we've ever been told.
Completely ridiculous. The universe is so big. And even if you just heard this term star seed,
right?
A star seed is a soul that incarnated and lived a bunch of lives on a different planet, and then they they didn't make ascension to the next fifth density,
right?
And the window to make ascension wasn't opening on their planet. They failed to make ascension out of cycle, so they incarnated on Earth because the window's going to open here soon, likely in 2027, so they can make individual ascension to the fifth density on their planet. And there's like 35 to 65 million star seeds here. And there's also a bunch of people here that are called wanderers. About 1 out of 100 people are wanderers. And they're people that went to the fifth or sixth density and excelled spiritually, like in the top 1%. And they were asked if they want to come back and help third density planets, and like Earth.
So, all right. So that's incredible. Where we left off on the last video, we were talking about souls. We were talking about how everyone and everything has a soul. We mentioned that everyone has an indestructible soul that does not die. And when your physical body that your soul incarnates into, when your physical body dies, death does not end it for you because you are not your body. You are a light soul being that incarnates into physical form time and time again. Any quick comment on that before we move on to the next big point?
Yeah, the soul's immortal. Your soul lives forever. Your body's temporary. So your soul is the real you. You spend more time on the soul plane, being just your soul, learning and doing things, than you do incarnating in a body.
I mean, that's huge. I mean, the truth there, that you are not your physical body, that their physical body is sort of like the clothes you wear for a short while, and then you go back to the soul plane, which is more your home than any planet you've ever been on. I mean, in a weird way, you spend more time on the soul plane.
Yeah, your body is called a vehicle that you drive for a while, and then you go back home when you're done driving, when your life's over.
So you incarnate for a short while. You try to learn as many lessons that we were intended to learn in the density that you're in. Today, humanity is in the third density. We learn as many third density lessons that we were intended to learn, incarnated for a short while, and then the body dies. You go back to the soul plane, and you often come back. And you come back to learn the lessons that you didn't learn, correct?
pretty much, yeah. And new lessons that
and new lessons. And the goal is to learn the lessons intended to learn to in third density, often lessons of love, and spiritually grow and spiritually advance so that you can graduate from your current density into the next.
Into the fifth density, yeah.
Into the fifth density.
There's a fourth density in between, but it's basically a deluxe third density. And that is in fourth density, only souls that have empathy can go in it. So all these evil people controlling us that don't have empathy, their souls can't go in that density. So we would get rid of them at that point. But all third density planets don't automatically make fourth density. Basically, after 3 cycles, if you have a high enough population, which is somewhere close to 2 billion, your planet, if it's properly positive, can move up to fourth density. And of all the soul groups that have empathy, about 75% are in fourth density and about 25% are in third density.
All right.
And we're soon going to go to fourth density.
All right.
Maybe
So we're
a year or two.
So another mega reality, truth bomb, so to speak, is that we're in third density. Humanity and our solar system and our planet, we are in third density right now. And we're approaching actually a rare event. For the first time ever in our solar system, we are going to go through an ascension event, correct?
Right. We're in third density, the fourth dimension, and we're going to move into fourth density, the fifth dimension. In third density, there's 2 dimensions, 3 and 4, and Earth has been in the fourth dimension for over 1 million years. There'll be a lot of other writers that are confused and talk about us being in third density, but we're in fourth dimension, length, height, and width, and a component of consciousness. And when we move to fourth density, the fifth dimension, the new dimension will be a component of time. So time will pass by differently. And fourth density has 6 dimensions. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
All right, so let's make sure we understand that we are in third density and we are not alone in third density. There are, humanity is what? One of potentially thousands of races of different beings that have souls, maybe tens and tens of thousands of different races of beings that have souls. Everyone has a soul, everyone incarnates just like us, and there's thousands of different races of ET, extraterrestrial, you might call them non-human entities,
nearby.
With us. What was that?
And they're nearby.
Right, with us in third density, either in our planet, on our planet, around our planet, in ships, in neighboring solar systems, could be on neighboring planets and moons. But these races, many of them are here now with us in third density.
Right. The universe is so fantastically huge, as well as we're in what's called the Sagittarius galaxy that's passing through the Milky Way. I think there's 9 galaxies that are around the Milky Way and around it, and that's our local group, that our governing group, what the higher densities govern us. Like Andromeda is a galaxy in a different that's a little further away. but some of the galaxies are the small Magellanic Cloud, the large Magellanic Cloud, and a few other satellite galaxies.
Even mainstream science has changed their tune in the past few hundred years, or maybe it's in the last 100 years. Mainstream science now says that there's hundreds of billions of galaxies in our solar system, in our universe. And
yeah, a trillion.
Right. And then there's hundreds of billions of solar systems just in our galaxy, and likely in most.
Right. And almost and I get that over 75% of solar systems have third density life of some kind.
So there's millions of races and millions of forms of life. You know, it's odd that they continue to perpetuate the deception, the lie that we are alone in the universe. It's hard to believe that people believe that, but they're being told it over and over and over again. And it's coming from science. You've got to believe the science, right?
And the people with reptilian souls are running the science. Control our governments, our religions, our medical, our education. They're coming at us from every direction, every small group of people, like a police department or a fire department, or any of them have a person with reptilian soul running it all through our planet. They got us firmly controlled, and no one understands what's going on. And we're trying to expose them and alert you that the people controlling us and making the rules and doing all this nasty, evil stuff that you can read about are all people with reptilian souls. We wouldn't have any wars at all without these reptilians running things.
So let's for a moment talk about these other races. My old friend Gordon Giannotto used to say that the ETs are, there's a whole gamut of them out there, the good, the bad, and the ugly. He used to say that all the time. Some of these races of non-human entities are positive. They're like what we would call good, or service to others, right? They're service to other races. We would call that a positive or a good type of a race. And if they're here now, and many of them are, around our solar system and our planet, they're often here to observe or help us. And then there are the negative. There are negative races of ETs that are here now in and around our planet and our solar system and in our galaxy. And those we often refer to as evil. That might not be the right word to use, but we often on Earth use the word evil or negative or selfish. Often they're called service to self races. And they are often, if they're here now, they're here to take advantage of us.
Right. Let me explain what kind of beings those are. There's basically 18 lines of DNA, and 9 of the lines, every living thing has to have a soul to be alive. And 9 of the 18 branches get a soul that has empathy, and 9 of the branches get a soul that doesn't have empathy. And 3 of each 9 can become third density people like us on various planets.
Okay.
And the kinds that have empathy are mammals like us, bird people, and vegetable people, which are real rare. And then the 3 kinds that don't have empathy, that generally go negative, but not always, are reptilians, insect people, and spider people. And spiders are more rare. Insects and reptilians are fairly common. And they don't have empathy, and they're likely to be negative, but some of them are positive, and some of the races that have empathy are negative.
And of those types of races, there's many of each of them. For example,
Yeah.
in the reptilian category, there are countless different races of reptilians.
Right. And there's four that are incarnating their souls in humanity. And they are the most common evil one that has the highest technology are the draconians. And then there's also lizards, snakes, and dragons. And
So some people call,
if you go on my website and go to this page, who's in power, you can see which kind of evil reptilians are controlling each country.
And where would they find that in your website?
Well, if you open icheckyoursoul.com, there's a big menu on the top, and the pages are kind of in alphabetical order, and down near the bottom, you'll see the page calls Who's in Power.
Who's in Power?
Just click that and open that page. And then on the top of the page, it explains the scales of who's evil and who's not. If a race doesn't have empathy, there's a scale that goes 1 to 100. And if it doesn't have empathy, the higher the number, the more negative it is. And 12 is neutral. Below 12 would be a positive race. And above 12 would be how negative it is. And then if a race has empathy, like humans, they also have a scale 1 to 100, and the higher the number, the more positive, and 12 would be neutral, 12 would be negative.
Okay.
I get that humans are rated about 83. We're very positive. But with these reptilians the reptilians that are controlling everything are rated 98 on the evil scale. Extremely evil. They don't care who they hurt or kill. And they're dictating and causing all these wars and poverty and crime and all the evil crap that's going on throughout the world. It's not hardly at all done by humans. It's done by these people with reptilian souls.
All right. So the reptilians of all the ET races, the reptilians are one of the types of races that are negative, without empathy for others, that we often refer to as, the evil in the world, right? They're very selfish. They're very service to themselves, service to self. But you mentioned no empathy. These are races that we call negative or evil. They have no empathy for others, which is where the evil comes into play, because they don't give a crap about who they take advantage of, who they hurt, who they murder, kill, rape, eat.
Yeah, they basically want to own and control everything. And they're trying to do that. On our planet, we got the people with reptilian souls. I get outnumbered about 1,700 to 1. And they have 80% of the money, and they own about 25% of the hard assets. I'm not sure if I have it right, but there was like 1,800 billionaires, and only 5 of them are humans that have empathy.
That's incredible.
Yeah, all the rest of them had reptilian souls.
All right, so you've confirmed that there are 4 races of reptilians here now on Earth, or living in Earth or around Earth.
But their souls incarnated in human bodies.
That have all 4 of them. They've all incarnated their souls into human bodies.
But it's one race. It's one race that has that technology, and they incarnated the other 3. The Draconians have the technology to clone human beings and put their soul or these other three races in. And then if the clone can have children, and then they'll make more people with that reptilian soul that way too.
All right, so let's go down that path. For how long have they been doing this? Would you say that the Draco or the Draconians found a way through technology to create clones, and then through further technology, they learned how to place their souls into those human clones they create? Have they been doing this for thousands of years?
I get about 6,000 years, and that's pretty much where written history starts. They tried to erase history before that, and in the last 6,000 years, there's fairly good history records, and a lot of it's done by the people with reptilian souls, and it's not an accurate history. But they show all these different wars they started, and there's conquerors.
Right.
I mean, everybody you heard of, like Genghis Khan or Alexander the Great or Attila the Hun, they all had reptilian souls. Churchill, and then there's humans that try to do halfway good, and then they completely lie about them, like Hitler. He was actually a good guy, and they lie about him. So you think he had a reptilian soul, but he didn't. He was human.
Okay.
And there's some evil humans too, like Roosevelt got us in World War II, and he was closely aligned with the people with reptilian souls.
All right. So thousands of years ago, the Draco or the Draconian reptilians brought this technology essentially to our planet and to our solar system, and they were creating human clones into which they were putting their Draco or Draconian souls into the human clones they created.
As well as three other kinds of reptilians.
And so those other three kinds of reptilians were using the Draconian technology.
Right. The Draconians did it for them. Yeah, they didn't have high enough technology to do that. So
they started doing this thousands of years ago. And they were inserting Draconian souls into the human clones they created with an intention, with an evil, insidious intention to infiltrate humanity in a stealth way so that no one would even know it.
Right, and they would help those people get into positions of power. Initially, they made them kings and queens and high priests. They never had any kings and queens. And they invented that, and they put their people with reptilian souls in those positions. And they called it, and they called their people of nobility. And they made a rule that unless you're of nobility, you can't be in a ruling position. They did that for thousands of years. So humans were kept out of power.
They kept it within the reptilian race.
Yeah, just the people with reptilian souls were in power all over the world, and nobody knew or understood what was going on.
All right, so let me go back to
we're at
how did we?
We're at 29 minutes.
All right, how did we get to today, where there are millions of human-looking that are not human because they don't have a human soul, right? They had their clones with draconian souls. They had them functionally capable of procreating and having sex with humans, and their children would take on the type of soul of the mother. So this is really important for humanity, for people watching this show. This is very important for people to understand. When a female clone had sex with a male human, their children would essentially be fully human, except they would have the draconian soul, which came from the draconian clone mother.
Yeah, whatever kind of soul the mother has, her children always get a soul from that group.
And
That's
so then
that's how our universe works.
So then the offspring, if you had a human with a draconian soul, not a clone, it was an offspring of a clone, maybe mother. So the female offspring, which are human with a draconian soul, their children would then have a draconian soul.
Right. And if a guy with a draconian soul has sex with a human, then their children will have human souls because the mother has a human soul.
Right.
So they would figure when they wanted to take over a country, they would send a few beautiful women over there that have draconian souls or reptilian souls, and bribe the people running that country to marry them and have sex with them. And then when they had children, they would insert the males into the government, and the females would marry other high-ranking people. And then they would make more and more people with reptilian souls. And then eventually they would have enough people with reptilian souls, and they would take over rulership of that country. And all the humans in that country would be pushed out of power, and people with reptilian souls are controlling that country. They did that with a lot of African countries.
All right, so let's back up one step, because viewers watching this video are if they're taking it seriously, which I don't know that a lot of people will, but I hope they will. They're probably thinking right now, this is a lot to take in, right?
Yeah.
You're telling me that there are now millions of human-looking beings fully integrated into humanity.
Yeah, human DNA, everything.
Human DNA, they are visually, they are 100% human, but because they were born from a female mother with a draconian soul, they got a draconian soul. So now we have millions of humans on the planet with draconian souls.
Right, and they're helping each other get in leadership positions and take over everything.
And how many are we talking about?
I get about 4 million.
You're saying that there are...
They have tricky ways of doing it, like when Los Angeles needs a new police chief, they don't promote from the people in the police force. Right. They bring some guy from the outside that they claim is right for the job, and he has a reptilian soul, and they insert him in to be a police chief.
Right.
Instead of taking a human that's been in the police force for years and promoting him, they got tricky ways of doing all that. They
so let me ask you,
and everything.
Let me ask you. You said there's maybe you get about 4 million. That draconian or all of the 4 types of reptilians?
All of the 4 types, probably.
Okay, so there's maybe 4 million humans with reptilian souls, and some percentage of those are draconian.
Right, probably 40 to 50% are draconian. They control the other 3 groups.
And the other 3 groups are not as evil. They're not as negative.
Right, but they're highly negative. They're like around 50 or 60 on the chart, while the draconians are 98.
So they're selfish.
Power play to see the exact numbers I got dowsing.
So the difference is the other 3 are selfish and they have no empathy for others, but they're not as dark and evil and looking to mass murder and go down that evil path.
Yeah, they might do some good things for humanity so they're liked and stay in power, while the draconians try to enslave everybody.
Well, the reality that I think people are wrestling with, What was that?
35 minutes or should.
All right, we're almost done with this video. The reality that our viewers here that are watching us are wrestling with is that these beings are here now, and it's not just the ETs that are reptilian in their original ET form. There's millions of these reptilian ETs that are essentially stealth. They're invisible. They've found a way to infiltrate humanity in a stealth way so that there's millions of humans that look human, but they're not.
Right. They're disguised as us.
They're disguised as us.
All right, let's probably end it there.
Why don't we pick up in another video about the many questions that our viewers would probably have about this reality that we've just painted a picture of.
Put questions in the comment section. Go to I Check Your Soul to get a soul report or a free mini soul reading.
I like that. If anybody has specific questions that they want you or I to address, they should put them in the comments, or they should send you an email, I guess.
Yep. Easy to find my address on my website. All
right.
right.
Sending you love and light.
Thanks for watching.